Welcome to Play IQ Trivia. Can you pass middle school? Let's find out. What is the closest star to Earth? The Sun. At just 150 million kilometers away, it's our nearest stellar neighbor. What is the name of the tube that carries food from your mouth to your stomach? The esophagus, a muscular tube about 25 centimeters long that pushes food down. What is the capital of Mexico? Mexico City, with over 21 million people in its metro area. How many degrees are in a right angle? "90 degrees. The reason every corner of a square is perfect. Which planet is the smallest in our solar system? Mercury. Despite being closest to the Sun, it is smaller than some moons. What type of animal is a dolphin? A mammal. Dolphins breathe air, give birth to live young, and nurse them with milk. What is the longest river in the world? The Nile, stretching over 6,650 kilometers through northeastern Africa. Which continent is the Sahara Desert located in? Africa. The Sahara is the largest hot desert in the world, roughly the size of the US. What is the chemical symbol for silver? From the Latin word argentum, which is also why Argentina is named after it. How many chambers does the human heart have? Four. Two upper chambers called atria and two lower chambers called ventricles. Which part of the plant absorbs water and nutrients from the soil? The roots. They anchor the plant in the ground and absorb everything it needs to grow. Which country is home to the kangaroo? Australia. There are actually more kangaroos in Australia than there are people. What force pulls objects toward the Earth? Gravity. The same force that keeps your feet on the ground also keeps the moon orbiting the Earth. How many planets are in our solar system? Eight. Can you name all of them in order? What is the name of the scale used to measure the strength of earthquakes? The Richter scale, developed by Charles Richter in 1935. Which sea separates Europe from Africa? The Mediterranean Sea. It has been a center of trade and civilization for thousands of years. What type of cloud produces thunder and lightning? Cumulonimbus. They can reach heights of over 12 kilometers into the atmosphere. Which US president appears on Mount Rushmore but not on any currency? Theodore Roosevelt. Washington is on the quarter, Jefferson on the nickel, and Lincoln on the penny. What is the name of the boundary where two tectonic plates meet? A fault line. The most famous is the San Andreas Fault in California. Which country shares the longest border with the USA? Canada. At nearly 9,000 kilometers, it is the longest international border in the world. What is the speed of light in kilometers per second? Light can travel around the entire Earth 7.5 times in just 1 second. Which Shakespeare play features the character Hamlet? It is one of Shakespeare's most famous tragedies and features the iconic line, "To be or not to be." What is the term for an animal that eats both plants and meat? An omnivore. Humans are omnivores, and so are bears, pigs, crows and raccoons. How many bones are in the adult human body? Babies are born with around 270 bones, but many fuse together as we grow. Which war was fought between the North and South of the United States? It resulted in the abolition of slavery and the preservation of the Union. Halfway there, how's that score looking? What is 2/3 of 90? Divide by 3 to get 30, then multiply by 2 to get 60. Simple when you know how. Which element has the symbol O on the periodic table? Oxygen, essential for human life and making up about 21% of Earth's atmosphere. What is the name of the layer of the Earth we live on? Ranging from just 5 kilometers thick under the oceans to 70 kilometers under mountains. Which author wrote the Harry Potter series? J.K. Rowling, now one of the best-selling series in history with over 500 million copies sold. What is the largest country in the world by land area? It covers over 17 million square kilometers, so large it spans 11 time zones. Which type of rock is formed from cooled lava? Igneous rock. The word igneous comes from the Latin word for fire. What is the name of the process by which a caterpillar becomes a butterfly? Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar essentially dissolves and rebuilds itself completely into a butterfly. Which US state has the most people? California. With nearly 40 million residents, it has more people than the entire country of Canada. What is 15% of 200? %10 of 200 is 20, add half of that, which is 10, and you get 30. Which ancient wonder of the world still exists today? Built over 4,500 years ago, it is the only ancient wonder still standing. Which part of the brain controls balance and coordination? Located at the back of the brain, it coordinates all your movements so smoothly you never even have to think about them. What is the name of the force that opposes motion between two surfaces? Friction. Without friction, you wouldn't be able to walk, write, or even pick things up. What type of triangle has all three sides equal? Equilateral. All three sides are the same length and all three angles are exactly 60 degrees. Who was the first American to walk on the moon? Neil Armstrong. On July 21, 1969, he became the first human to set foot on the moon. What is the name of the fictional detective created by Arthur Conan Doyle? First appearing in 1887, he remains one of the most recognizable fictional characters in history. What is the term for rocks formed from layers of sediment compressed over time? Sedimentary rocks. They form in layers over millions of years and are where most fossils are found. What percentage of the Earth is covered by water? %. Despite all that water, only about 3% is fresh water. Which US state was the first to be admitted to the Union? It ratified the Constitution on December 7, 1787, earning it the nickname the First State. What is the square root of 169? $13, because 13 multiplied by 13 equals 169. Which scientist developed the theory of relativity? His famous equation E equals mc squared changed our understanding of space, time and energy forever. What literary device describes giving human qualities to non-human things? Personification, one of the most powerful tools in creative writing. Which war did the USA enter after the attack on Pearl Harbor? On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked the US naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. What is the term for words that have opposite meanings? Antonyms. They are everywhere in the English language. Which planet is tilted so far on its axis that it essentially rolls around the sun? It is tilted at 98 degrees, meaning it spins almost completely on its side as it orbits the sun. What is the name of the process by which living things produce offspring of the same kind? The fundamental process that ensures the survival of every species on Earth. That's 50 questions. How did you do? Drop your score below.